Older people on medication. The liver becomes slower, less efficient, and the risk of drug interactions increases sharply with age. For people over 60, I therefore recommend consuming oranges in moderation and never combining them with medications without the advice of a healthcare professional. If you like citrus fruits, opt for less risky choices like clementines, or squeeze a little juice into a glass of water rather than drinking large quantities. And above all, if you are taking prescription medications, ask your doctor if your citrus consumption could be a problem. Because the truth is, it's not just the contents of your medicine cabinet that matter, but also the contents of your fruit basket. A seemingly harmless and well-intentioned daily habit can become the silent factor that pushes your brain toward a crisis. If this worries you, that's understandable. But knowledge is power. By simply changing how and when if you eat certain fruits, you can significantly reduce your risk. And if you think oranges are the only fruit with two sides, stay with me. This next one is a hospital-supplied fruit, recommended for digestion and energy, but can slowly destroy the protective covering of your nerves. Let's talk about apples and the sugar trap no one warns you about. 6. Apples. An unsuspecting sugar trap. Apples, icon of American health. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. You've heard that all your life. Crisp, juicy, easy to transport, apples are often served in hospitals, included in senior meals, or tenderly offered by your grandchildren who simply want the best for you. But for older adults, especially after 60, with high blood pressure, diabetes, or cognitive impairment, apples may not be as harmless as they seem. In fact, the wrong apple variety, eaten at the wrong time, can increase your risk of stroke by disrupting your blood sugar and the balance of your vascular system. Because not all apples are created equal. Sure, they contain fiber and some nutrients, but many of the most popular varieties in the United States, Fuji, Honeycrisp, Gala, were bred for their sweetness, not their health benefits. These apples have a high glycemic load. This means they quickly dump a large amount of sugar into your bloodstream, far more than your aging body can efficiently handle. And if you eat them alone, without protein or healthy fats to slow absorption, you trigger a rapid rise in blood sugar, followed by a sharp drop. This spike and fall don't just impair your energy, they also disrupt your blood pressure, vascular inflammation, and blood thickness. When your blood sugar rises rapidly, your blood becomes more acidic, thicker. Insulin spikes, and your vessels begin to constrict. This cycle, repeated day after day, slowly damages the fragile walls of your arteries, including those that supply blood to the brain. Microtears can occur, and when that happens, the body responds by forming clots to repair the damage. In younger people, these repairs are harmless. But in older people, whose vessels are already narrower and stiffer, these clots can become stroke triggers, waiting for the wrong moment. One of my patients, Mrs. Louise Hammond, 81, from Pennsylvania, had been healthy all her life. She walked every day, took her medications correctly, and ate what she thought was a perfect diet. Every afternoon, she snacked on a large Honeycrisp apple. No cookies, no chips, just fruit. What she didn't know was that she also suffered from insulin resistance. And those repeated sugar spikes were overloading her age-weakened vessels. Gradually, she noticed that her vision was becoming blurry at night, and that she sometimes felt pressure in her head when she got up. One evening, while preparing dinner, Louise suddenly lost the ability to speak clearly. Her daughter brought her to the emergency room. Imaging revealed a minor stroke. Her labs showed unstable blood sugar levels and inflammation of the vascular endothelium. While her medical treatments were doing their job, her daily sugar spikes were quietly preparing her for a crisis. And yes, a clot had formed, probably during one of these sudden blood sugar spikes. Louise has recovered, but she no longer looks at apples the same way. Not as an enemy, but as a food to be consumed with awareness and balance. Here's what I advise all my elderly patients. If you like apples, choose them wisely. Granny Smiths are less sweet and higher in polyphenol, compounds that protect the brain. Always eat them with a source of protein or healthy fat like almond butter or a slice of cheese to slow sugar absorption. And never eat a sweet apple on an empty stomach, especially in the evening. Your brain needs constant fuel, not a yo-yo effect. Even a seemingly healthy fruit like an apple can, under certain conditions, create the perfect conditions for a stroke. Because when your blood sugar spikes, your vessels constrict, and clots quietly form, a day will come when the silence will be broken. If that surprised you, pay close attention, because the next fruit is beloved by seniors for its heart-healthy reputation. It's colorful, rich in antioxidants, often touted as a superfood. But beneath its ruby-red skin lies a natural compound that can thin the blood more than necessary. And for those already taking blood thinners or other vascular medications, this combination could mean the difference between a fragile balance and a brain hemorrhage. Let's talk about cherries and why excessive consumption, even unintentional, can expose your body to real danger. If you're still here and found these tips helpful, leave a comment below to let me know you're here. Now for point 7. 7. Cherries, a hidden source of salicylates. Cherries, small, shiny, and vibrantly colored, have earned a reputation as one of the healthiest fruits in the American diet. They're often recommended by doctors to fight inflammation, relieve arthritis, or improve cardiovascular health. They're found in health magazines for seniors, in organic sections, and they enhance yogurts, smoothies, or salads. But behind their sweet taste and squeaky clean image, cherries pose a little-known risk, particularly for older adults taking blood thinners or medications that affect clotting. This danger lies in a natural substance found in cherries, salicylates, compounds with blood-thinning properties, similar to aspirin. In small amounts, this can be beneficial, but in older adults whose blood is already thinned by medications like warfarin, Plavix, or low-dose aspirin, adding daily salicylates from food can lead to unexpected effects. The result: overly thin blood, weakened vessel walls, and in extreme cases, a hemorrhagic stroke. Few people think to make the connection with fruit. It may seem like a stretch, but I've seen it firsthand. I'm thinking of Mr. Daniel Rodas, 84, a retired train conductor living in Illinois. He had suffered a minor heart attack a few years earlier, and his doctor prescribed low-dose aspirin. He also took a statin and a blood pressure medication. Every night after dinner, he enjoyed a small bowl of fresh cherries. Nature's dessert, he often said. He firmly believed in their anti-inflammatory benefits and wanted to stay in shape to enjoy his great-grandchildren. Everything was fine at first until Daniel began experiencing headaches, dizziness, and sporadic nausea. One morning, he woke up confused and vomiting. His wife rushed him to the hospital. The CT scan revealed terrible news: a cerebral hemorrhage, a hemorrhagic stroke. It had nothing to do with hypertension or trauma. The problem was the excessive fluidity of his blood and a ruptured vessel in his brain. The doctors ruled out a dosage error. His medication was being taken correctly, his vital signs normal. But an analysis of his diet revealed a worrying element. The daily accumulation of salicylates from cherries had, in combination with his medications, discreetly prepared a high-risk environment. And that's what makes cherries so treacherous. The effect is slow, gradual, imperceptible, until the day everything changes. And once the hemorrhage starts, it's difficult to stop. The chances of recovery are uncertain. Some lose their speech, others their mobility. Many never regain full independence. What I want every senior to understand is this: even natural foods can interact dangerously with your medications. At 70 or 80, your body no longer processes nutrients the way it did at 40. What's helpful for a younger person may. Recovering from joint pain could, in someone on blood thinners, trigger a silent attack. So, if you like cherries, eat them in moderation. A few on occasion are probably safe, but avoid concentrated extracts, cherry juice, or large daily portions if you're taking medication that affects clotting. And above all, always consult your doctor before adding something as biochemically active as a small fruit to your diet. Because what seems benign can become risky once it enters an aging body, already busy maintaining its delicate balance. And when blood gets too thin, it doesn't just leak. It overflows, and the damage it leaves is real. If you think the surprises are over, think again. Another fruit, often touted for its antioxidants and served in chic bowls at senior brunches, may well contain some of the highest pesticide levels in the produce aisle. And for older adults, that residue doesn't just wash away. It builds up. and it could be far more toxic to your brain than anyone ever told you. Let's take a closer look at strawberries and find out what's really behind their alluring red glow. If you're still with me and this information resonates with you, leave a comment below letting me know you're following. Now for point number 8. Strawberries mold, pesticides, and the risk of gout. Innocent-looking, bright red, heart-shaped, sweet with a slight tartness, strawberries symbolize health in the collective imagination. They're on hospital meal trays, blended into smoothies to strengthen the brain, or served at nursing home brunches all over the United States. But for older adults, the reality of strawberries is far less sweet. This popular fruit may unwittingly increase your risk of stroke, inflammation, and even long-term brain toxicity. Here's what most people don't know: strawberries are among the most chemically treated fruits in American agriculture. They top the Environmental Working Group's Dirty Dozen each year, a list of the 12 foods with the highest pesticide residues, even after washing. And in older adults, whose detoxification functions slow down, these chemicals don't flush out as easily. They accumulate in tissues, including the brain, where they can impair neuron function and weaken blood vessels. These pesticides aren't just surface irritants. Many, including those used on conventionally grown strawberries, are classified as neurotoxicants. This means they directly damage nerve cells and increase oxidative stress in aging neurons. Over time, this weakens the integrity of microvessels, especially those located in the brain's white matter, the areas most vulnerable to many strokes, memory loss, and cognitive decline. Once the damage occurs, the body responds with inflammation and clot formation, increasing the risk of ischemic episodes. But the danger doesn't come solely from pesticides. Strawberries also contain purines, natural compounds that, when broken down in the body, produce uric acid. In people with gout, kidney disease, or vascular inflammation, a common pattern in older adults, excess uric acid can trigger inflammatory reactions leading to narrowing of the vessels, increased blood pressure, and once again, clot formation. One of my patients, Ms. Elaine Carter, 80, living in Michigan, always loved strawberries. She would pick them in June, freeze them for the winter, and eat a small handful every night after dinner, thinking she was doing the right thing. She suffered from mild hypertension, took a diuretic, and sometimes complained of joint pain. But over time, she began experiencing dizziness upon waking and chronic joint swelling. One morning, she woke up with a numb right hand and slurred speech. The CT scan confirmed a small ischemic stroke. Her tests revealed elevated uric acid, signs of oxidative stress, and mild vascular inflammation. A slow, silent process, likely fueled by years of eating strawberries exposed to pesticides and high in purines. The fruit she thought was beneficial had actually become a daily dose of vascular stress. And yes, a clot had formed, a clot that her weakened body could no longer dissolve. Elaine survived, but now suffers from mild memory loss and chronic tenderness in her hand. When she tearfully confided, "I thought I was doing everything right," it reminded me how essential context is in nutrition for older adults. Even a superfood can become harmful if it's poorly suited to the body, the time, or the health condition. So, what should you do if you eat strawberries? First, always choose organic ones. Wash them thoroughly. Don't eat them every day, and never consider them your main source of antioxidants. If you suffer from gout, kidney problems, or are taking antihypertensive medication, consult your doctor before regularly incorporating them into your diet. Also, be careful with frozen strawberries, especially those included in industrial smoothies. They often come from bulk production, grown abroad, with sometimes less stringent control standards. Because what you don't know can, slowly but surely, harm your health until the day a silent clot robs you of your words, your balance, or your freedom. And if strawberries surprised you, wait until you discover the next fruit. It seems exotic, tasty, touted for its cardiovascular benefits. It's found in many health supplements. Yet, this fruit can discreetly alter your blood pressure and cause morning strokes. Now let's talk about mango. 9. Mango, blood sugar spikes and medication interference. For many older adults, mango represents a tropical treat, a well-earned indulgence. Mild, juicy, and naturally sweet, It's found sliced in fruit salads, in smoothies served at senior wellness cafes, or dried, sold as a healthy snack in health food aisles. Its bright orange flesh suggests a natural dessert, and that's how it's often marketed. But for seniors, especially those with heart conditions, high blood pressure, or taking multiple medications, mango can be a quiet saboteur, increasing stroke risk in ways few doctors discuss. Here's a troubling fact. Mango is one of the highest sugar fruits in the Western diet. Just 1 cup of ripe mango can contain up to 45 grams of naturally occurring sugars, more than an average donut. And unlike complex carbohydrates, these sugars are rapidly absorbed, causing sudden spikes in blood sugar, followed by surges in insulin. For older adults with insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, or unstable blood pressure, this roller coaster effect can put extreme pressure on blood vessels, especially those in the brain. When blood sugar rises, the body responds by triggering inflammation. Arteries constrict, circulation slows, and in weakened brain vessels, this inflammation can create microscopic cracks in the vessel wall. The body, in repair mode, then forms clots to fill these cracks. It's a survival reflex. But in an already constricted vessel, this process can trigger a stroke. But that's not all. Mango doesn't just disrupt blood sugar. It also contains natural compounds that interfere with how the liver metabolizes certain medications, particularly those that affect the heart, blood pressure, or cholesterol. Research has shown that one of these compounds, minephrine, partially inhibits the cytochrome P450 enzyme system, a set of enzymes used by the liver to clear many medical treatments. When this system slows down, medications build up in the body. This increases the risk of overdose, side effects, and even dangerous interactions. If you take treatments such as amlodipine, metoprolol, or certain statins, this interaction can cause excessively low blood pressure or irregular heartbeats. Let me tell you about Mr. William Booker, 83, a former firefighter in Nevada. He prided himself on staying active, walking every day, eating a balanced diet, and always choosing heart-healthy options. A few months ago, he started snacking on dried mango slices daily, thinking they were a healthy alternative. Wise with biscuits. He was also taking medication for high blood pressure and atrial fibrillation. After a few weeks, William began to feel unusually sleepy in the morning. One day, upon waking, he collapsed. His wife found him confused, very pale, and the left side of his face slightly drooping. In the emergency room, scans confirmed a mild ischemic stroke. The tests revealed an excessive drop in his blood pressure during the night, as well as high medication levels in his blood, despite the correct dosage. After a complete review of his habits, the link became clear. His daily consumption of dried mango had saturated his liver, preventing proper elimination of his medication. The constant spikes in blood sugar were making the situation worse, creating an ideal breeding ground for clots. William survived, but the stroke left lasting effects, impaired coordination and short-term memory loss. Today, every reminder on her phone reminds her of what a tropical treat almost cost her. That's why I advise older adults to reconsider mango. Its sweetness belies its complexity. It's not just about the sugar, it's its interaction with an aging body, a slowed metabolism, and a fragile medical system. Even a few slices, especially in dried form, can be enough to disrupt internal balance. So, what's the best course of action? If you really want mango, limit yourself to very small portions. A few bites at most, only during the day. Never before bed. And always with protein or good fats to slow sugar absorption. If you're taking medication for heart, blood pressure, or cholesterol, talk to your doctor. Mango may no longer be appropriate. Not at this stage of life. Because as we age, our margin of error shrinks. What we tolerated in our 30s or 40s can now trigger complications. Even with fruit. After reading through these 9 supposedly healthy fruits, you're probably wondering, what else can I eat to protect my brain, nourish my heart, and indulge myself without risk? Don't worry. In the next and final part, I'll introduce you to brain-protective foods that promote memory, improve balance, and won't interfere with your medications. No need for miracle pills or trendy ingredients. Just simple, powerful, whole foods, along with a little common sense. Let's finally talk about foods that heal. not those that harm. Final thoughts. The truth about fruit, aging, and brain protection. After exploring these 9 fruits that seem harmless or even beneficial but can actually silently increase your stroke risk, you may feel confused, even betrayed. You've always been told that fruit is a natural remedy, a gift from nature, a certainty you can count on. But the truth, especially after age 60, is much more nuanced and much more important to understand. Aging changes everything. What you ate in your 30s or 40s no longer has the same effect. Your kidneys filter more slowly. Your liver metabolizes medications less efficiently. Your blood vessels become stiffer, thinner. And your brain, the most sensitive organ, becomes vulnerable to the slightest fluctuations in blood pressure, blood sugar, or clotting. This means that today, every bite counts more than ever. Many older people, full of good intentions, unknowingly adopt routines that put their brains at risk. A banana swallowed with medication. A bowl of grapes as a snack. A pineapple after dinner. A large glass of orange juice upon waking. These gestures are so everyday, so simple that they raise no doubt. And yet, behind the scenes, they can initiate a series of reactions invisible, slow, silent that increase inflammation, stiffen arteries, disrupt blood flow, and, in the worst cases, promote the formation of clots that can block oxygen to the brain. As a neurologist, I've seen this scenario too often. Patients who wake up feeling great and end up in the intensive care unit that night. Some have lost their speech. Others, their memory. Still others, the use of their legs or the ability to recognize loved ones, all because of a tiny clot, barely bigger than a grain of rice, but in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's tragic. And the hard part is that many of these strokes could have been prevented, not with more drugs, but with a better understanding of the effects of diet in old age. The good news? Not all fruit is off limits. In fact, some well-chosen and well-consumed are powerful allies for the brain, heart, and autonomy. So, what should you prioritize? First, berries. Blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. Low in sugar, rich in antioxidants and polyphenol. These compounds protect blood vessels, reduce inflammation, and promote memory without disrupting blood sugar levels or interacting with medications. Second, green apples like Granny Smith. Less sweet than commercial varieties, they contain flavonoids that are beneficial for the brain. Accompanied by a little cheese or almond butter, they offer a gentle, steady energy boost without a sudden spike. Third, avocados. Yes, they're fruits. They're rich in good fats, support nerve function, stabilize blood pressure, and contain slowly absorbed potassium without a crash effect. Fourth, lemons and limes. Not to be eaten as a snack, but as a light juice in water or on your food. They aid digestion, support the liver, hydrate without sugar, and don't interfere with your medications. Fifth, pomegranate. But only in small amounts. Juice is powerful. If you consume it, dilute it, and limit yourself to a few sips. Its antioxidant properties can be helpful, but they should be used with caution, especially if you're taking blood pressure or heart medication. And above all, timing is crucial. Eat your fruit early in the day, never on an empty stomach, and always with a source of protein or healthy fats to slow its absorption. This minimizes blood sugar spikes and drops. Avoid eating fruit in the evening, right before bed. At this time, your body is at rest, your circulation is at its lowest, and excess sugar or acidity can throw the system off balance. You may not feel anything right away, but the price could be high later. Let's be clear, this isn't about fear-mongering. It's about honoring your age, your biology, and the subtle signals your body is sending you. You're not fragile, but you are different. And that deserves a different kind of attention. This doesn't mean you should give up pleasure or shy away from the sweetness of life. It means you should savor with discernment, with the intelligence that only experience has given you. You got here through perseverance, wisdom, and adaptability. Don't let a familiar habit, a piece of fruit you've never given a second thought, become a silent risk to your health. Every bite counts. Every snack can be a step toward greater vitality, or a slide toward preventable complications. So take a moment. Read labels. Consult your doctor. Ask yourself, is what I'm eating serving me or sabotaging me? And don't just think about today. Think about tomorrow, a month from now, because you're no longer eating just to live. You eat to stay sharp, to walk unaided, to keep your memory, to stay yourself. And with the right fruit, the right information, and the right timing, you can absolutely do it. Stay wise, stay attentive, and remember, your brain hears everything you give it. Give it the right signals. Give it what it needs to build the future you deserve. These lessons aren't here to scare you, but to inspire you. To live fully, consciously, and with pride. Take a moment to reflect on what you learned today. And if something stood out to you, share it in the comments. A small lesson, a decision, a change to make. Many of us walk this path, and every experience counts. If you liked this video, leave a comment. If you didn't like it, leave a comment too. Your feedback is valuable. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more useful, clear, and thoughtful content. Thank you for your attention. Thanks for watching. And most importantly, here's how to live life to the fullest on your own terms.